to go to college basketball. And Tom Izzo, who his team was a seventh seed, they were eliminated, I believe, in their second game of the tournament. But Rob, a lot of people are talking about the transfer portal. Some love it, some don't. And they talked about how that has really strengthened and bolstered some of these mid majors, which is why we had so many upsets in this year's tournament. But Izzo doesn't seem to be a fan of it. And here he was talking about it on ESPN.
I'm not for it. I'm not for anything. I just think we're hurting decisions that kids make. I mean, we got, 1,200. By Tuesday, we'll have 1,500. And then we're going to get a second wave of kids in the portal. And kids are going to go places that, maybe it's a little bit for the money. Maybe it's because they're worried about beating somebody else out. I mean, we all had to beat people out. And I think we're losing that. Where's the competitive edge? So, and plus, I don't have a lot of faith in the NCAA. This waiver thing, if you got a hangnail, you get a waiver. And I just don't believe in that, because I think somebody, whether it's a lawyer, whether it's agents, whether it's people, they're just going to come up with a different reason why, mental health is a big reason. I just don't see why sitting out is such a bad thing, because 90% of the kids that are sitting out aren't pros anyway, or they'd go pro.
Quickly, Rob, before you go, what he's referring to about the sitting out and the mental health. If you transfer the first time, you can play right away. If you transfer to another school, so it's your second transfer, you have to sit out a season. But if there's a quote-unquote physical or mental health issue, or even physical or sexual assault that you may have encountered, at the school or whatever, then you can play immediately. So that's just context. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Tom Izzo sounds like an old man.
Hey, you damn kids! Get off my lawn!
He wants things back the way they used to be when college coaches reigned supreme and they put their thumb on the kids, Chris, and they threatened them with their scholarships. And they were able to leave kids in the lurch and walk out, and they were making millions of dollars from Nike, and they didn't wear the sneakers. That's what Tom Izzo sounds like to me. Is he wants things to go back to where they were, back in the Stone Ages, where coaches and the universities held the kids and could do whatever they want, and they wielded the power. Hello, Tom Izzo, is this on? Those days are gone. Those days are gone, and you better adapt or you're going to be a dinosaur. And you got to understand that things aren't back like they were when you first started coaching at Michigan State. And that kids do have a right. And the same thing that you've been doing and other college coaches have been doing, the kids have that right. Why should you, if you were a college coach and you could get more money and be in a better situation, guess what you did? You bounced. Why shouldn't the kids bounce if the circumstance and the situation isn't right for them? So I totally disagree with Tom Izzo and the idea you could poo-poo whether if you get a hangnail, you get a waiver. If you say you got mental things, they just let you do whatever you want. I just to discount everything, and I'm not saying that everything is on the up and up and whatever. But let's make sure that for some people who might be suffering from a real injury or a real mental issue or whatever, that there is a place for them. That's all I'm saying. So I disagree with Tom Izzo.
I do think that Izzo's comments are self-serving. I think this is just, like you said, it's a coach who naturally doesn't want players he recruited leaving. And you said it, Rob, like, look, if you're a coach and you sat in a kid's living room and you looked that kid in the eye, you looked his mom, his dad in the eye and said, you sold all this stuff about how you want to help him become a better person, not just player, how you want to build his character, how you're going to be there for him. You cite NBA players that played for you and how you helped them out, all of that. And they're going to the school based on you. Because everybody recruiting the blue chippers is a great program. So they're going based on you and their faith in you to do what's best and to really mold their child. And you could leave after a year and you still got 4 years on your contract. Come on. The kid should be able to leave as well, and you can't blame the kid. So I think, Rob, it's just so hypocritical of the coaches to be able to break their contracts, but get mad when the kid leaves. Doesn't even break a contract, but he leaves.
Right.
Now, if you want to say coaches have to adhere to their contracts, and if I only have a year left on my deal when I sit in that kid's living room and I say, look, I only have a year left, I might not be there. That's one thing. But if you got 5 years left, then you have to stay to 5 years. You want to say that, then we can have a discussion. But if you can leave, then certainly the kids should be able to leave. Rob, I'm open to, I don't really mind the second time in a portal because I don't think you want kids, not even for the system's sake, for their sake, hopping around all over the place. And if it's a challenge here, then you leave. I think one transfer is great. Maybe the second one, you need more of a reason, or like they said, you sit out a year. I'm not that upset about that. But the first year, these kids should be able to move on just like the coaches. And so I do think Izzo's being self-serving in that regard.
Yeah. It just sounded, dated and old and, like this is what happens. Things used to be great, Chris, in the good old days. Well, I'll tell you one thing. The reason, and I've said this to you before, Chris, the reason Tom Izzo probably doesn't have that second championship or didn't win another one is he was late to the party on the one and dones. Even Coach K, Chris, embraced it. You know why? Because he would have been irrelevant too and he wouldn't be winning if he didn't go get.
Has Izzo had any one and dones?
Well, he went after them later on in his career. What was it? There was a couple kids. What was the name? What's that kid's name? Parker from Milwaukee.
I think he's had a couple.
What was
Jaren
that?
Jackson Jr.
He's had a couple.
Zach Randolph was 2 years? I want to say. Yeah, 2 years.
But you know what I'm saying. But he
yeah.
was against recruiting those guys.
Right. No, right. And he had to adjust to remain
relevant. Right. And that's
absolutely.
my point is you just can't go back to thinking, well, this is the way we used to do it and I'm just going to do that. No, think the game has changed. And you got to get with the program or retire.
And what he says about the mental health, look, I think, Rob, you and I have talked about this before. First of all, you don't want to belittle any, physical or mental situations. There are kids and people dealing with real mental health issues. And I'm not even saying this in regards to Izzo, because I do think his comments were just self-serving.
Right.
But we do, I think, Rob, some of this stuff that's being called mental health is just people not wanting to and I'm not even just talking about college kids. I'm talking about pros and just people in everyday life. Everything now is being called mental health. And sometimes it's not a mental health issue. It's just a person not wanting to deal with the daily challenges and issues of life. Rob, if I don't want to, say I had a bad day today and I don't feel like going on the show tonight, that's not a mental health issue. I had a bad day and I don't feel like going to work, but guess what? I got to work. I got to pay the bills. And so I think, or, you're just shy. Some people are shy. Some people don't want to talk to the media because they're shy, because they don't want to be asked challenging questions. So this is a little off of this, what Izzo was talking about with the mental health. But I do think that is becoming somewhat of a problem in society as well, Rob. It's just that everything is not a mental health issue. You know,
Yeah,
sometimes you just don't want to deal with some of the challenges you have to face.
I hear you, but we also have to be careful for people who are experiencing something. I don't know. Knock on wood, I'm blessed, whatever. Like maybe it hasn't been a part of my life or your life or people close to you, but people do go through some stuff.
Of course.
So we need to make sure that those people, if they're really having some sort of issue, have some sort of, I don't know, what's the right word?
No, get care.
Yeah,
My daughter's
right.
a psychology major. She's about to get her PhD in psychology.
Is she really? Wow.
Yeah, so I got no issue with real
So you know what I mean?
mental
Right,
health
right,
issues.
right. Because
I'm totally with you there. And that goes for athletes and people in general. But I do think today we're putting mental health, everything is a mental health issue. There are some people that think every single person has to go to therapy. It's not true. Some people do, a lot of people do. But if a person that doesn't go to therapy doesn't mean they're denying that they got some mental health issues. Their life might not be perfect, but they deal with their issues. And so that's kind of, again, this is off of what Izzo is not what he was talking about. But I do think that sometimes we're calling things mental health issues that really aren't mental health issues. It's just you being lazy. It's just you don't want to deal with a situation that's tough, that's challenging, but a lot of times those things can help you grow. When you're in a situation where you're uncomfortable, that can help you grow and become stronger. That's my life. I've been in many situations that were uncomfortable. But looking back, it helped me become stronger. It helped me be better at a certain thing because I had to fight through that challenge that I had to face. So